everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's GR3EVO Cup for race 4 at the Kyoto driving park, Yamagiwa 2. Gonna take a quick look at the current championship standings. After 3 races, Demonar leads the way on 55 points and he's closely followed by Mandalorian on 52. DGT League SGP has 49, then a bit of a gap to Steve F1, who's closely followed by Fluffy Planet, Formula Gary, Dave the Harp, Groover, Bunsel and Jason round out the top 10. And then we've got Twilight and Rich Blues on the same points, DGT League SRI on 10 points, Con Reese on 7, Schumacher and Tyler still on 0. Today's qualifying result, which is reverse grid order from the championship standings, or reverse championship standings. So Tyler in first place, Con Reese in second, DGT League SRI in third, Silver Shadow joins him on the second row. On row 3 we have Rich Blues and Jason, row 4 is Groover and Bunsel, while row 5 has Dave the Harp and Formula Gary. And row 6 is Fluffy Planet and Steve F1, and row 7 has DGT League, SGP and Mandalorian, while on the last row of the grid, Demonar is all on his own. Okay, before we get over to the race action, what a quick message from the DGT League admins. Here we go then from the Kyoto Yamagiwa Park 2, and joining me on commentary today is DGT League's SRI and SGP.
Hello.
Hello.
Here we go then, the drivers are ready. Tyler sitting on pole position ahead of Con Reese as we get ready for the lights to go out. They're coming on and away they go. Actually no, Con Reese doesn't go anywhere. What a disastrous, hang on a minute, what's
He's
happened
gone
there?
now. I think he's got sponsorship from Doctor Who there.
He's all over the place, and so is SRI. He needs a medic, even if he is one. Let's see what's going on.
He's only half of one.
Well, that is true. Half medic, half alcoholic. It's absolutely frantic, though, heading down into the first couple of corners. Dave the Harp looks like he's been tagged on the rear. By the way, just want to mention, quite a few drivers are sporting new liveries for this event today. Still looking at Dave the Harp, though, in 7th place as they head into the hairpin, one of the tighter corners on the track, and they're 4 wide. That's not going to work.
No, it's not, but looks like Dave the Harp's got away with it. SGP trying to push his way through as well. Now we've currently still got Tyler in the lead, Silver Shadow 2nd, Steve F1 3rd, Bunsel 4th. Not a bad start from Bunsel, with Gary following close in 5th.
Yeah, Formula Gary is Dave the Harp running a little bit wide, and it looks like Demonar's up alongside him. Formula Gary has been showing to be very, very quick in practice, and as I've already mentioned on the championship standings, Silver Shadow is not a new driver.
Driver's going for a move. Sorry.
That's alright, it's not a problem. I'll tell you what, Silver Shadow's also going for a move up at the front. He's all over Tyler. Yeah, he's not a new driver. He's just changed his name. Formerly Twilight is now the Silver Shadow.
Who's going to be the first one to call him Twilight?
Twilight's just made the overtake into the final corner. Yeah.
Tyler's coming back up.
He is.
He's coming back.
Steve F1 though has got a brilliant run out of the final corner, and he may have a chance of overtaking the two of them. And I'm pretty sure Steve F1 started this race further down the grid. Is Tyler going to go for the move? Yes, he is. Chucks it up the inside. Steve F1's going to try and follow him. The Silver Shadow. He's not a shadow. Oh, Jason's off. A big incident at turn 1.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but it looked like might have had a bit of contact on the straight and ended up not making the corner.
Yeah, and then we've got Steve F1 looking to take over Tyler. He's coming down to the hairpin.
That he is. Now, something that's going to be interesting for us here today, obviously the reverse grid order from the championship standings, and that's why it's a surprise that Steve F1 is up to second place already. And looking at the list, Demon R is already up to fifth place, but Formula Gary's all over the back of these three as the rest of the field starts closing in. Steve F1's going to try and take the lead, but I nearly said Twilight, he's taken the lead.
Yeah, great driving here by these three, showing a bit of respect, giving each other a bit of space, and I'll probably curse them. You know I will have done. Actually, it's all good. Demon R though, and Formula Gary. So Demon R making the move on Formula Gary and Tyler Formula Gary, who's either, as Steve F1 is trying to attack the Silver Shadow. Yeah, also Groover, 7th. It's a bit wiggly. Who was that? That was Demon R in his new Superman livery. Yeah, it's like, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's Demon R.
No, it actually says on the side, is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a car.
Yeah, it's a car. Yeah, SGP now pressuring Formula Gary up the inside. He's determined to have that inside line. Braking late, 3 wide. Can he keep it up the inside? Looks like it's a nice move done there from SGP.
It was a lovely overtake. I don't think Tyler realised that SGP had another car next to him.
Eye off in the back there.
What was he doing? What was he doing there then, Ray? Or why was he off the track?
I don't know. Somebody else has just hit off. Don't know who that was.
Looking at this though, up at the front, okay, Steve F1 leading the way, Silver Shadow sitting in second place. That's a great position for him at the moment. Demon R now into third, SGP into fourth. Mandalorian though, who's been very good at coming through the field in the last few races, not on screen at the moment. He's definitely in the race, but he's not in the top 8.
No, I think he may have had a few incidents on the opening few laps, but it's one of those drivers that always seems to be there towards the end. I've just seen him in the background there coming sideways around that corner at the bottom of the hill. So he is trying to get his way through the field. As we see Demon R now pushing up onto Silver Shadow, and he'll be making a move soon, I would have thought. We're trying to close up the gap to Steve F1.
Yeah,
and he'll be wanting to get away from SGP, but
who
behind him.
Silver Shadow got a little bit twitchy in the mid corners there, very nearly losing control of the car. And I think Demon R may have had to be on the brakes through those corners, which you don't really want to do. Silver Shadow now running wide, Demon R up the inside, SGP's trying to follow him through. So yeah, Demon R takes second place with Twilight. I've said it, I've done it, and Twilight.
You've done it, yeah.
Done it. Who's going to come out the best of this guy into turn 1? There's 3 close there, Demon R, Silver Shadow and SGP. Demon R still in front.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if SGP makes a chuck up the inside of this chicane. It looks like he's going to go for it, showing, I nearly called him Twilight. Silver Shadow, a bit of respect there on the exit, leaving room for him.
I can't believe SGP's chucked up at a corner.
He did. He chucked up the inside.
Yeah. But again,
yeah, there was space there for the both of them.
Again though, Formula Gary's still there in this battle. He's in the leading pack of cars, and there is a bit of a gap forming here from these front 5. And for the fact that Gary is in it is showing that yes, he's definitely got pace here. However, guys, I believe this may be the toughest track on tyres in this championship.
Well, it's an odd one because of the shape of the circuit. It doesn't necessarily give you uneven wear. It wears quite evenly, but it's the long, high-speed corners that just seem to cause a lot of damage to the tyres. And it's one of those that could cause a 3-stop strategy, whereas I think most of the time we're going to see 2 stops this season.
Yeah, I think you could be absolutely right. Okay, looking just at the timing tower on the left-hand side, Dave the Arp sitting in 6th place, Fluffy Planet in 7th, as Silver Shadow still holding on to 4th, and Demon R now closing in on the back of Steve F1. So it's from the back of the grid, now fighting for the lead. And I tell you what, it looks like Fluffy Planet is all over the back of Dave the Arp in the background. But Demon R, is he going for the move? No, he's not. He's just testing Steve out, but Steve's ran wide.
He has, and just point out as well, we've still not got Mandalorian in the top 8, so he's taking his time getting through. We do have a driver in the pit lane, not sure who that is. Wonder if that is Mandalorian going for an early stop.
Former Gary's putting pressure onto Silver Shadow in the back there.
That he is. I mean, Gary is having an absolute stonker of a race, although he is suffering with a little bit of a back problem. I'm guessing he tried lifting a few too many beers at the weekend. Let's see though. Yeah, I mean, Mandalorian could have been one of the cars in the pit lane. He does tend to like pitting early, as Demon R is really trying to attack the back of Steve F1. And the interesting thing about the tyres here, guys, if you are pushed faster than you want to go, you'll kill your tyres. So could Demon R be trying to just push Steve F1 into doing exactly that?
Yeah, and you've got SGP not far behind them, just not putting too much pressure on them. And it does look like that Demon R is just trying to keep with Steve F1, SGP is just trying to keep with both of them. And it's a matter of who's looking after the tyres at this stage of the race. Yeah,
definitely. Normally, this championship, we don't... Oh, we may have a move going on here. Demon R's flicking to the outside of the final corner on entry. Steve F1 takes the tighter line. That could compromise his exit, but he's going to hold that tight line, is he? Yes, he is, to try and hold up Demon R, but Demon R, I think, is going to have the move done here as he comes alongside down towards turn 1. Steve F1 goes defensive, and this is where SGP, if he plays his cards right, will close up without causing any tyre wear. Demon R's off.
He is off, and he could still make a move inside, but with dirty tyres, he probably wouldn't want to be doing that. Just point out, SRI has just pitted from 8th position and popped Mandalorian up onto the timing tree. So Mandalorian now is in that top 8. So he is on the board now, shall we say?
Yeah, that he is. So we're, 8.5 minutes into this race. Demon R still pressuring Steve F1. We've had a few guys already make their pit stops, and I mean, I'm not seeing Demon R sort of chuck it up the inside anywhere. Steve F1 is going defensive, but I do think it's a little bit of... I mean, yeah, Demon R is just right up his bumper until now, where he can get alongside. So I think it's all about tyre preservation for Demon R, but for Steve F1, it's about holding on to the position without killing the tyres.
Yeah, but it's going to be who's going to be doing a pit stop soon. Is Demon R going to look for a move? It's a difficult part of the track to go side by side, and it's probably going to be wise to follow him. But yeah, it's like, what is the strategies here? Because if you push too hard, you're going to be pitting around about now, which is 10 minutes. I'm surprised, to be honest. So many people pitted between 7 and 8 minutes. It was quite an early stop for quite a few drivers. Yeah, but yeah, how many laps are these going to go?
We'll find out by watching. Is Demon R going for the pit lane? No, it was a dummy for the pit lane. Let's see, is SGP heading into the pits? No, he's not, but Demon R is actually going to go for the overtake. He's got the racing line down into turn 1. Steve F1 goes defensive. He's got worn tyres, he's got old tyres, but he's got a racer's mind, and he's managed to hold on to the position.
Yeah, this is a great battle up at the front here. These two guys showing each other quite a lot of respect, not whacking each other off, or...
That sounds so wrong.
That does sound so wrong.
Maybe that's lost in translation. But is it a surprise that we're seeing Steve F1, Demon R, SGP up near the front so early on? I mean, we've introduced reverse grids. And these drivers are still
Steve,
getting
Demon R nearly up alongside into the downhill chicane, but backed out of it early, realising that I don't want to go side by side here. It's not worth the hassle. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned about the reverse championship grid order, and that's something I was actually going to mention to you. I mean, as admins, Demon R's going for it up the inside. Kind of caught Steve F1 napping there, but he's going to have... And does. Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's first place.
Yeah, can he keep it though? Because it is a possible place to come back at a driver down towards this long right-hander to finish the lap. I nearly said left-hander. Yeah, you'd be going the wrong way if you turned left at this point.
Yeah, I mean, this is the interesting point for the battle for the lead. Demon R taking the wider line. Steve F1 hugging the inside, but that'll send him wider on the exit of the corner unless he slows it down, which is exactly what he's done. Demon R dummies the pit stop again, but SGP goes for it. So SGP on the super soft tyre goes for the pit lane, and there is Mandalorian. We see him for the first...
behind him. Dave the Harper, I think he's looking to go to move down here into turn 1.
It could be Mandalorian, could be looking at doing exactly the same to Jason. Yes, he is. Going for the overtake while also defending against Dave the Hart. Runs a little bit deep though. Jason goes for the switchback. That's not bad. That's quite clever from Jason. Closes the door on Dave the Harp a little bit. So side by side, Mandalorian and Jason go. And it looks like Mandalorian has managed to get ahead. And I wouldn't be surprised if Mandalorian has got slightly fresher tyres at this point. So needs to try and pull away if he can.
Yeah, SGP came out of the pits right behind this group in 10th place. He's managed to get up to 7th. There he is. He's managed to get up to 6th place now. He is coming through the field, but he's not going to get much of an undercut. Now he's in this pack on those front 2 drivers. He needs to dismiss these drivers as soon as possible as he goes up alongside Groover. Now thinks better of it.
No, he was up alongside Iron Man, and then he was up alongside Captain America, and now he's past Iron Man. So he's up to 5th place in the lovely Schaefer livery. He's got SRI all over the back of him, but you're absolutely right there, Steve, in that SGP not getting the benefit of the earlier pit stop because of the traffic. So the pack has kind of come into play again in the DGT League. Demon R and Steve F1 though still haven't pit. Obviously they didn't pit on that lap, they carried on, but Mandalorian, now that's put him up to 3rd place, so his early pit stop, which I believe he did do, has put him in a net 3rd place.
Yeah, that's a good recovery there from Mandalorian after at the moment an unknown.
Oh, Dave the Arb. Dave the Arb going for a switch back on him. SGP going for a switch. I think Dave the Arb was trying to go for the pit lane, was he? He may have been. He's not going in there now.
Yeah, pit lane closed, I'm afraid.
Let's see, this is absolutely brilliant stuff at the moment. SGP on the outside, Dave the Harp in the middle. Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. Yeah, that's right. I've just seen him in 3rd place there, just on my screen for a minute. And I thought it said he was in 5th. Completely misread that, sorry.
Yeah, probably because they were side by side. Okay, Mandalorian holds on to the position. Dave the Harp is all over the back of SGP, but SRI is all over the back of Dave the Harp as well. And Dave the Harp moves across to close the door on SRI, but SRI sees the inside and Dave the Harp closes it again. I'm so bad with people's names today. Silver Shadow, though, battling with Tyler. Formerly Gary, after his brilliant start, is now stuck in a bit of traffic, and this is brilliant stuff at the back here. Fluffy Planet. He's been improving, but what can he do in today's race? Tyler's not making that corner. He's into the barrier. Can he? Oh no! Silver Shadow's tacked the back of him. That's absolute bloody carnage.
Yeah, that's involved Fluffy and then on to Bunsell as well. That's a bit of an awkward situation there for Tyler. I wouldn't say he returned to the track on safety. He had nothing to do. Nothing he could do about it, unfortunately. It was just, that's the way the car was going.
That's the way the
SGP though. Yeah, SGP right up behind Mandalorian. I'm wondering if Mandalorian's tyres have shot now and he's ready to do another pit stop. 15 minutes in, it's quite possible.
Sorry, Dave the Harp and SRI got so wiggly there. So wiggly.
Wibbly.
Steve F1 is leaders into the pit lane then. So the leaders pitting at just under 14.5 minutes. That would suggest a 2-stop strategy. Mandalorian now leads the race though, as SGP is trying to attack him into turn 1. SGP with those fresher tyres. But interestingly, Steve, Mandalorian, he needs to go long now if he can, if he doesn't want to end up having to do an additional pit stop.
Yeah, he needs to go along now to get a few of the other drivers into the pits and open up a gap for him to pit into. Because at the moment, if he pits, he's at the back again.
Yes, definitely. So a little bit like we saw Demon R try and hold up Mandalorian, or SGP going deep at the last race to sort of reduce the gap. That's kind of the situation Mandalorian is in at the moment. Not been able to hold off SGP, but maybe able to hold off Dave the Harp. SRI in 4th place, Demon R in 5th place, and then we got the pack of the cars coming through. Silver Shadow down in 10th and 11th is Jason, but we did see the Silver Shadow getting caught up in that collision. So SGP now leads the race. Mandalorian's still there, but here comes Demon R on the back of SRI.
Yeah, just going to say Demon R onto the back of SRI, and that's how much the undercuts paid off for SGP. I think he was on the track for probably 2 or 3 minutes with those fresher tyres, but it was just enough for him to be ahead of Demon R when Demon R came out of the pit stop, and Steve F1.
Question is though, Ray, is SGP going to have to do 3 stops where Demon R and Steve F1 look like they're on for 2 stops? Oh no, Demon R's on for hitting the barrier!
Oh, that was a fast crash there. I'm surprised they managed to keep a hold of it.
Well, he's a man of steel, that's why.
Yeah, he was magnetised to the wall at that point. Side by side though with Steve F1. Can Steve F1 run it around the outside? I'm not sure. It looks like Demon R might have the run into the corner.
Oh, Formula Gary comes in a little bit hot there, tags the side of Steve F1. Fluffy Planet trying to follow him. Fluffy Planet's run wide and tags Steve, and that's Steve spinning around. Oh, that's disaster for Steve F1. He saw a hint of an opportunity to overtake Superman, but it just wasn't to be.
No, that's pretty much put him down to the back now, and he's going to have a long way to come from there. podium today might just be out of the window for him.
Yeah, so Ray, I was mentioning a few moments ago about SGP's pit strategy compared to Demon R and Steve F1. Demon R now on the back of the leading 4 cars, but do you think SGP is going to have to do the additional pit stop?
I'm not too sure if he can do a longer stint. He might just not do the longer, the extra pit stop, sorry, as I watched Damon R going for the move on SRI. He's taking a tighter line round the corner.
Yeah, that he is, with the fresher tyres, is able to do that. I mean, I think his tyres are a good 5 minutes fresher than most of these guys. I mean, it's interesting. Oh, Dave the Harps ran wide in the middle of the fast downhill chicane, and I think he may have just clipped the barrier. That's allowed Demon R through. It's also going to allow SRI through, but Dave the Harp is still going to try and fight it back on the exit of the corner. As we look a little bit further back, though, Formula Gary, Silver Shadow, Bunsell ever so close, and we got SRI into the pits.
And Mandalorian as well, Mandalorian into the pits.
Interesting, that might bring Mandalorian out in a little bit of a clear track, which could be beneficial. Silver Shadow, though, under pressure from Formula Gary. He now takes 4th place, and looks like Groover is catching on to the back of Bunsell as well.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 minutes away from being halfway through this race. It's a bit of an odd time for a pit stop. It's kind of like in a no man's land for a pit stop. Working the strategy out from this point to the end, he's got to pit again, surely.
Oh, Groover having a look up the inside. Thankfully, Bunsell saw him coming through the hairpin. I don't know what's worse, seeing him coming through the hairpin or being whacked off.
No comment.
Well, I've got a feeling he's going to have a new sponsor on his car for the next race, and it'll be Kleenex.
Oh, Mandalorian, big sideways through the chicane. Steve F1, though, kind of finding doors closed all around him. But I tell you what, Mandalorian is pushing, but he may have just pushed a little bit too much. The last thing he wants to do is kill his tyres on his outlap, but clearly he can see if he wants to gain anything, he's got to make moves quickly. Demon R, though, is on the back of SGP. Both have already made 1 pit stop, and I think SGP is going to be making a pit stop, probably not this lap, maybe the lap after. Demon R not probably due for another pit stop until what, maybe another 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, Demon R's not long been out of the pits. Let's try and work. Oh, Demon R going for a move around the outside, approaching turn 1. It's a long way around there, and I don't think we've seen a driver make a move around the outside as yet, and he's not always going to go for the switchback.
Switchback, yeah.
Yeah, but the door is closed there, unfortunately, and move not done. Yeah, these two pitted. I mean, Demon R pitted on about 15 minutes gone, so that looks like it'll be a 2-stop race, and SGP pitted on not long after 10 minutes, which looks like a 3-stop race.
Yeah, SGP going defensive here as well. He needs to hold up Demon R as much as he can, but he may struggle on the exit of the corner as they head down towards the sort of mini triple chicane. Demon R trying to poke his nose alongside, but can't quite do it. Now he'll have to hold behind, and this is where the difference in tyre wear is crucial for both drivers to be aware of, because if Demon R on fresher tyres goes through that chicane as fast as he can, he'll hit the back of SGP, but instead he's gone for getting the better exit of the corner, controlling the speed through the middle, and now we can make the move into the long right hander where SGP's tyres are going to struggle a little bit more, and that frees up the man of steel to see if he can open up a bit of a gap. Steve F1 though, well, actually Silver Shadow sitting in 3rd place. Steve F1 after the big spin, he's now 4th place with Mandalorian all over the back of him. So unfortunately we haven't seen Mandalorian making the overtakes through the pack as we had a battle for the lead, but he is all over the back of Steve F1, and Mandalorian needs to make moves here, but Steve F1 closes that door firmly shut.
That was close.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to make contact there.
I thought it was Max Verstappen driving for a moment.
Don't say nothing about today's F1, I've not seen it yet. Mandalorian though going for the move, is he on a Silver Shadow? Yes he is, but I was saying the Mandalorian needs to make these moves because of the fresher tyres. He can't afford to be held up. So I mean, so far it looks like he's making the moves cleanly, which is good to see. Definitely in comparison to not last championship, but in previous championships maybe a little too physical. Either war, that fluffy planet, Formula Gary, they're off the track, and Jason's in the pack as well with SRI as they make to all the way to the hairpin. Ooh!
I think that was Fluffy that ended up on the grass there. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but he didn't make the corner.
Is Jason slowing down, or is it just No, I thought
He's not slowing down.
Okay, I thought I saw him slowing down, but it was just my eyesight. Groover is catching up to the back of him now, so is SRI, and Dave the Harp, I think, is in there as well. Steve F1 has actually caught back up to Mandalorian. This could get interesting, because Mandalorian can't afford to be fighting with Steve F1 if he wants to fight for the win here.
Yeah, I mean, so far during this race, Steve F1 and Mandalorian's strategy are completely different, and Steve's tyres are a few minutes older than Mandalorian, so for him to be catching back up, he's doing a good job.
Yeah, that he is. He did just have a massive sideways moment though, and so has SRI, as he's got Formula Gary all over the back of him. Groover in front of him, he's looking up the inside, the tighter line. Groover running the wider line. Who's going to get the best exit out of the corner? Well, at the moment it's Jason, and Formula Gary, yes, he is going for the pits.
Yeah, Dave the Art was a little bit wide coming out of the corner. It was nearly all four wheels on the grass. But it was lucky to keep it in a straight line.
Still there with Groover, Dave the Harp coming down the inside, making it 3 wide.
Ah, nice move from Dave the Harp there. Very opportunistic. I like it. Dave the Harp, a bit of contact with SRI. What happened there?
Don't
have a clue. Just a wee bit of contact.
It looked like, unfortunately, Stingray returned to the track. He was on the curb, come away from the curb, and there was a bit of contact, and next thing you know, both cars are like magnets.
Oh, maybe they need to flip those magnets around so they avoid each other. Mandalorian.
Well, they've not done that since the start of the season, so I can't see them doing it now.
No, true. I mean, to be fair, they've been driving very well when they're around each other. Let's see, Groover, who is he attacking? He's attacking Bunsel.
Yeah. That's quite interesting. See them coming down these the long right-hander. Sorry, that was the wrong part of the track. Groover's taking the tighter line. He's trying to get his nose in there, a wee touch there, sending Bunzo a wee bit wide, but he still can't make the move.
No, that he can't. I mean, a difference of tyre life could be dramatic between a few of the drivers, especially with the different strategies. It does look a little bit like Groover's front end is taking a bit of a smashing. Demon Ardo opening up the gap to SGP, who heads into the pits. You know what? I expected him to pit 4 minutes ago. He hasn't. He's pitted now, so I think he may be able to get to the end. Mandalorian is now in second place with Steve F1 third. A few of the drivers pitting.
Yeah, I mean, SGP's pit stop at that point, it gives him that option to go to the end. But he's always got the option of going for another pit stop if he wants it, but he has opened that door for a 2-stop race from this point.
Yeah, in the Mitsubishi Audi, behind the Mitsubishi BMW.
Followed by the Mitsubishi.
Yeah. These cars are completely unique, except for they're identical. That's actually quite right for this race, actually. Up ahead, Jason, all over the back of Bunsel as SGP is trying to attack Dave the Harp, and I think SGP's on much fresher tyres. He's just come out of the pits, and Dave the Harp, where's Groover going? No, it's not Groover, it's Formula Gary, just misses the barrier, got away with that one, but here comes Jason now on the back of Bunsel.
I don't think he did get away with it because his arrow on the track map was stationary, so I think he went straight to the scene of the accident.
Oh dear, that's desperate.
Yeah, he's going down the positions.
Oh, that's desperately unlucky for Formula Gary. Then Jason, though, has made the move. Has he? Yes, he has. He's made the move on Bunsel. SGP trying to go side by side with Dave the Harp, but Dave the Harp is having absolutely none of it and making SGP work for his position.
Yeah, he is making SGP work for it, but also I think it's SGP might be thinking, do you know what? Let's not do anything stupid. Let's make an overtake and make it stick rather than put it into a corner and hoping. Oh, they're both going wide there, though. It looked like he was trying to get a slipstream from Dave the Harp and just followed Dave the Harp off the road. But he's going to have a run at him into the first corner.
I think it looks like he did something stupid.
Bunzo's making a move on Jason.
He is.
So they're still battling there, and then it's going to make it a 4-way battle with Dave the Harp and SGP, and they're side by side still. It's time they're going to back out of this chicane. It looks like Dave the Harp lifted there.
That he may have done. SGP's got to run up the inside of Jason into the hairpin, and right behind these are Silver Shadow, Fluffy Planet, Groover. They're coming in on this battle as well. This is interesting. SRI is also there, and I think Steve F1 is there as he's recently pitted, but SGP going for the move instantly on Bunsel down into this triple chicane. That's a lovely move. Who is going to survive the horrible little corner? Bunsel ran a little bit wide. who's going to come over the crest of the hill trying to attack. You know why? It's Silver Shadow trying to attack Dave the Harp, but Dave the Harper's got the slipstream and he's having a look at making the move on Bunsell, but he can't quite do it. He's now had a bit of attack from behind from Groover. That sends Dave the Harp wide. That gives Silver Shadow the opportunity. We've got 1 wide, 2 wide, 3 wide, 2 wide. This is mental.
Yeah, SGP's got clear through that pack, and SRI a little bit wide there, but they've all made it through the corner. I was just thinking that Demon Art into the pits. Where's he going to come out with this pack of cars? Where's Mandalorian going to be when he makes his next pit stop? There's a lot of cars on this track, all in one place at the moment.
Yeah, there is. Steve F1 is in there as well. I think he has already made his pit stop and he's come out right in this gaggle with nowhere to go ahead of him. Bloody
Demon Art's done it. He's missed the pack. He's still ahead of SGP.
Steve F1 has made the move, chucked it up the inside of Silver Shadow and gets ahead of Dave the Harp as well. That's brilliant driving from everyone there, I've got to say, to be able to get through all of that without massive carnage. But Bunsell fighting the Shadow and he hits the Shadow. Fluffy Planet comes steaming through the middle and it's carnage in the background. I thought I'd spoken too soon and I had.
Yeah. But I'm just going to point out again, Demon Art missed the pack. He managed to get his pit stop done and dusted and come out ahead of SGP. SGP effectively went for the undercut on Demon Art. Because of the pack, he couldn't make the move stick, making the undercut work. Demon Art, though, comes out ahead of the pack. But what's Mandalorian going to do?
Yeah, well, that's the interesting situation now, isn't it? We're, just under 12 minutes to go, and the pack has properly formed here. Mandalorian, we know he's definitely got another pit stop to make. Demon R, we think, can get to the end. SGP maybe be able to get to the end, but the pack could have such an effect here as Fluffy Planet is having a look around the outside of Dave the Harp into the downhill fast. Right, left, are they going to get through there? Just about. Dave the Harp is sideways now, and now Fluffy's off on the exit and the Silver Shadow is spun around. He's not a shadow, now he's a ghost.
Was it the Silver Shadow or was it Dave the Harp? I'm trying to just work that out. I think it was Dave the Harp.
Silver Shadow's still there. He's behind SRI.
Mandalorian has pitted. Mandalorian is into the pit. So where is he going to come out in reference to the pack? He's going to come out right on the back of it, right behind Rich Blues, going for the move straight away on Rich Blues, up behind the Silver Shadow. This now is crucial for Mandalorian because he can't afford to end up off the track if he wants to try and battle for the win. The problem he's got, though, guys, is that Demon R's not pitting again. So if anyone wants to fight him for the win, they've got to catch him.
Well, I was going to say, Demon R's not pitting again. SGP probably not pitting again. You've got Mandalorian on the freshest tyres, but they're only 1 lap newer than Demon R, 2 or 3 laps newer than SGP, but he's on the freshest tyres. What can he do with them?
Well, send them round in circles, and all over the grass and the curbs there, a little bit sideways as well on the exit as SRI, also a little sideways, done very well to save on to that, to keep hold of that. Mandalorian, though, instantly having a look at the inside of Gary. He wants the position, but Gary's going to fight him tooth and nail for it, but I don't think he's got the tyres. No, he hasn't. Mandalorian sweeps through, and now he's only got Fluffy Planet, Steve F1 and SGP between himself and the race leader.
Yeah, but when you look at that track map, it's not like only just them.
There is Silver Shadow side by side.
Yeah, and they're very, very close, weren't they, through there? I was going to say Mandalorian is making this move on Fluffy Planet, nicely done. Front 4 or 5 drivers are all on the pit straight all at the same time.
They are. Fluffy Planet heads into the pit lane. Rich Blues going for a move on the Silver Shadow. Go on, Rich. Absolutely nail it if you can. Rich has definitely been improving his driving recently, and he's gone for a slightly cautious approach there, which isn't a bad thing to do. Okay, Demon R leading the way. SGP, though, right behind him, right in this fight. So the battle is on.
Yeah, and Steve F1 is there as well. And then there's a little bit of a gap back to Mandalorian, but he is on the fresher tyres. There he is. And Silver Shadow, again, I say again, it's his first time with that name, because obviously it's former twat. Yeah, it was previously known as. Previously known as Twilight. What I was going to say was if he can keep in 5th position, he's going to bag some good points, which he's not been able to do in the last few races.
Yeah, definitely. Rich Blues though coming under pressure now from Bunsell, as Bunsel's giving him a bump draft. Bunsell does like his NASCARs, and he's quite happy to give people a bit of a bump draft if it benefits himself. But here comes Dave the Harp steaming up the inside. That's a risky but nice move from Dave the Harp there, and both Bunsell and Rich Blues have seen him approaching. So yeah, what are they going to do down into the fast? And Bunsell once again using the slipstream to benefit himself. Oh, and then Fluffy Planet coming past Rich Blues as well as Jason.
Yes, it is Jason.
SGP's in the pits.
He is. That's an odd one. 8 minutes to go. But he did, when was his last pit stop? 16 minutes to go. So he split that last stint. So he's got the freshest tyres. But what's he going to do now? I mean, that's going to put him out towards the back. Yeah, Dave the Harp as well. I mean, I suppose if you are going to make a late pit stop, now's the time to do it, because you've got time to get back through the pack. But trying to look at SGP and where, well, he has only come out in 5th place. That's not too bad. He's got Silver Shadow, and then he's got Mandalorian, and you know.
So for SGP then, for SGP he's come out ahead of the pack, so that's, well, it's not luck. Fluffy Planet going for the move up the inside of Jason, SRI right there as well, and so is Formula Gary. I've got to say, I'm seeing some really good racing on occasion throughout this race. There has been a couple of big crashes though, and hopefully we won't have too many more of those, but it's racing and anything can happen. So Mandalorian's now up to 3rd, Silver Shadow is 4th, and there's SGP. So SGP, because it was able to get out ahead of the pack, is able to at least be able to fight to get back to where he was, because everybody ahead of him is on older tyres.
Yeah, and with this race clock counting down, if anyone else pits now, they may not have the time to come back through.
SGP goes for the move into the fast left, right, yeah. I think section of the track, the quadruple,
the wiggly bit.
Yeah, the wiggly bit. The quad, it's not the knuckles, it's a knuckle. It's the Glasgow knuckle.
I've worked out what it is. It's the arse depression. It looks like someone sat on top of the track.
It does, right, actually.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, that only happens on cushions if you're slightly overweight. Okay, well, we've got going off here. Bunsell going defensive on Formula Gary. Jason having a look up the inside of Fluffy Planet. Is it? Yes, it is, but can't quite get through. Bunsell still trying to fend off. No, actually, you know what? Fluffy Planet has got ahead of Jason, and I think SRI, yeah, he's got a little bit of a breather, but Formula Gary may chuck it up the inside. No, he chooses to think better of it. Dave the Harp, who also pitted at the same time as SGP, is now on the back of the pack. He's also on the freshest of tyres, but also, if any of the cars ahead of him, i.e. everyone apart from SGP, if they have any problems with their tyres, Dave the Harp is in the better situation.
Yeah, and it's not a bad situation to be in.
That is
He's getting all over the place there.
Fluffy off again though, same corner, he's struggling with that one.
Dave the Harp almost had absolutely nowhere to go there. Oh, he's getting squeezed a little bit. There was nowhere Formula Gary could go. Gary had a car up the inside of him and still does. So Gary and Bunsell fighting hard through the corner as SRI is also trying to capitalise here. This is where now they've got to be sensible. Head into the fast section. Dave the Harp's got the fresher tyres, so there's no point trying to attack him, and they do file into single file, and that's the best thing you can do through there, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, and just while this is happening, I've been watching the track map, and the gap between Steve and Mandalorian is slowly coming down. Mandalorian is catching up Steve F1 for second place.
You say that, he's all over the back of him. Here we go.
Oh, here he is. Yeah, he's on him. Now Mandalorian's got reasonably fresh tyres. I've just seen in the background SGP. There he is. SGP's got the freshest tyres on the road, apart from Dave the Art.
Demon R hasn't got the freshest tyres. He's just got the fastest ones.
No comment.
I apologise for that. Mandalorian though, his tyres are considerably fresher than Steve F1's, because Steve F1 pitted before Demon R did, and Mandalorian is going for the move already, heading up towards or down towards the triple chicane. His fresher tyres will have this, easily making the move, but he's ran a little bit deep. Steve F1 is going to come back at him. Oh, I can't see where they are. Is he going to be in the slipstream? Mandalorian's going defensive. Oh, that was like Raikkonen and Ricciardo in France. You don't know what I'm on about there, do you?
I do. I just don't know what to say about it.
Okay, I'll tell you what though, Mandalorian through the long right-hander, you mentioned earlier, Steve, about it's the long corners that are the painful ones, and it's so noticeable when a car is on old tyres compared to a car on fresher tyres through the long fast corners. So Mandalorian has opened up a little bit of a gap from Steve F1, and he needs to, but once again, the pack here around Silver Shadow, absolutely frantic, and Rich Blues is there as well. So Fluffy Planet has got everything to fight for. Jason is still trying to fend off Dave the Harp, and Bunsell is being attacked from the Shadow, but the Shadow is being attacked from Formula Gary.
I thought Formula Gary was going to go for a pit stop then, but it's either losing it or moving out of the way.
I think it may have been a bit of both. So, or let's see, have a look what we got here. Go on, Ray.
Sorry, I've just seen Silver Shadow going for a move, but no, let me see SGP catching up with Steve F1 and Mandalorian.
Yeah, Steve F1's attacking or trying to attack, or was he attacking or was he defending? Either way, SGP has the fresher tyres of these three, so he may, with what, 2.5 minutes to go in this race, he should be able to get back into second place. The question would be, has he thrown away a win? I don't think, it depends. If he doesn't think he could have got the tyres to last, then he's made the right call, and he's already attacking Steve F1, heading towards the long right-hander. So let's see how the fresher tyres cope compared to Steve F1's old, battered, worn tyres.
Well, there we go, just on the exit of the corner, you can see SGP pulling away from Steve F1. I think Steve F1 now, his best place, he's going to finish in his fourth. I can't see him coming back at Mandalorian or SGP. If anything, it's going to be SGP putting pressure on Mandalorian.
He's already all over the back, isn't he?
He is, and he's going to want to get this move done and out of the way pretty soon. But the problem he's got is Mandalorian's tyres, they're not that much of a time difference to age to his own. But SGP wants the inside. He's saying, I am going to come down the inside, so you better leave me the space. We've seen him do a move around up the inside on Formula Gary earlier. It looks like he's got it done, but he's going a little bit deep. Can't get it back to the apex. Mandalorian, though, puts his car into that space and says, yeah, I'll come back past you, thank you very much.
Yeah, nice switch back there from Mandalorian. The interesting thing I just want to let you guys know is that from second down, they're on their final lap of the race. The only person that could get one more lap in is Demon R, as Mandalorian goes defensive on SGP, but SGP's decided he's going to try and go all the way around the outside, but Mandalorian holds him off. This is absolutely brilliant stuff at the moment. Steve F1's going to be sitting there thinking, come on guys, crash each other out, let me have second place. Mandalorian going defensive, SGP trying to take a tight late line, and it's so cautious but so aggressive through there as well. This is brilliant driving. So if this is the last lap of the race for these guys, where's the best opportunity for the move?
Anywhere, just get it done soon rather than later.
Well, interestingly, Mandalorian didn't exactly close the door on that one. Go on, Ray, you were going to say something there?
Probably through the chicanes, if you can get a good line through it, get on the exit of it.
We've only got pretty much one corner left to go, so he's going to have to do it on this last corner, I'm afraid.
That he is, and he's going towards the outside. Mandalorian covers the inside. That could compromise the exit of the corner. On the exit, obviously, SGP, trying to swing back towards the apex. Demon R is going to take the victory. He's slowed down to make it the final lap for him as well. Mandalorian is holding on to second place, so SGP pulls out alongside. Who's going to take second place? It is Mandalorian, and Steve F1 is going to take fourth place. SGP is third. Oh my goodness me, look at this. We've got Jason ahead of Silver Shadow, but he's being battled by Dave the Harp, and Steve F1 is absolutely annihilated the lot of them.
Yeah, it's a good job that Steve F1's car was already across the line. Here comes Rich Blues in 12th place. I'm just curious to find out what happened to him, because he was in about 7th or 8th a few minutes before the end of the race. Not
only that, I don't think I saw Formula Gary crossing the line there, so I've got a feeling that Formula Gary may have DNF'd in that one. But while we gather our breath, we will gather all the information as well, because I mean, one of the things that I will mention, that in the DGT League, as these two know, seeing as they run it, unfortunately when it comes to showing the race action, you cannot catch everything, because there is always something happening. Yeah, I mean, on that as well, we are aware that there were a few incidents during that race, and if there are any that were reported to the stewards, I believe that you'll be reading them out once we've gone through the formalities. It depends on who it involves. It really does. What I would say though is, a very interesting racetrack, very fast racetrack, but also a difficult racetrack. But for majority of it, some very good racing in there. But I want to pick up on something that I think you were trying to mention early on, Steve. There was obviously, I have a bit of a lucky situation at the moment that you're the admin, so I could ask you any question I like. Doesn't mean you're going to answer it. But
you can ask Ray as well. He's an admin.
True. Well, that's what I mean. I can ask you both. That's what I was saying.
Right.
I need to go. I'll catch him in a minute.
Nice try.
You can ask us, Ray. We don't have to answer.
True. Well, obviously, at some point, you're going to want some feedback from the drivers about how this championship, or what they think about the format of this specific championship, regarding the reverse grid order from the championship standings, because it is something that you're just testing. And I think you were hinting at it earlier, Steve, that you've got the likes of Demon R, Steve F1, SGP, Mandalorian that have started at the back of the grid, but they are finding their way through and getting to the front again. So some may think maybe you'd be better off doing a normal qualifying session, or maybe it does just add something extra. I don't know. Maybe that is something that you may want feedback on at some point.
I think, we do want feedback on it when we ask for it. Or if anybody wants to give us feedback at any point, they can. What I would say is, though, that if, for instance, next season we don't have reverse grids, it doesn't mean we'll never go back to it. It just means that, and one of the reasons why we call this racing league a dynamic GT league is because we want to change things and we want to spice things up. Not necessarily try and change things for the better or change things for the worse or anything like that. It's about not always being repetitive. So that's why we like.
Someone needs to tell
cars.
Demon R that then.
Yeah. We don't always want to have the same cars. We don't always want to have the same winners, Dave. But
I'll have a word with him. I'll see what I can do.
Not having qualifying, that was something that we thought by having reverse championship border grid, it would just add a spice into this season. Not having tuning, again, just adds an extra spice in. And if next season we decide to go back to what we've done before, or add something a little bit different in there, it's not us trying to find the perfect formula for league racing. It's this season we're going to do this just to spice it up.
Yeah.
And if anyone's got any ideas of what they think we should do to spice it up, feel free to let us know.
I've
got one idea.
I was going to say, I've just received a message that says go-karts.
Well, how can you say no, Ray? I was going to say, Ray, how can you say no to go-karts? It was you that sent the message today saying go-karts.
Well, I don't know if you heard, Steve, but Ray, go on, Ray, what was your idea?
We'll just ban Demon R.
Well, I've got an idea, all right, and that is, but I don't know how I'm just going to throw this out there, right, and it comes from watching BTCC, British Touring Car Championship.
How do you regulate it, yeah?
How do you regulate it? But you add weight to the faster guys. So if somebody wins, you add weight onto them. Yeah. You don't have to add weight to different guys all along the field, but if you could add weight to the faster guy, or not guy, or whoever won the previous race, or whoever's leading the championship has to carry championship ballast weight.
Yeah.
I think that would just be something to spice it up. But how do you regulate it on GT? The only way you could do it is by somebody like yourself, Dave, who live streams. Yeah. We can check it. Yeah. But we don't want to have to force people into recording their races.
Yeah, I mean, that, I must admit, that's something I know I've sort of pottered around with that idea.
Well, maybe we should look at doing voluntary championship ballast. So, but what we're saying it to you, Dave, is we believe you should be carrying more weight on your car.
It's not my car. It's Demon R that drives. I say I love
Demon R's car.
Yeah, I love a word. What I would say with that, I mean, if it's voluntary, then there's a good chance that people might not do it. But I mean, I'm one of those people. I kind of like that idea because it is another way of spicing things up. But yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things. How would you regulate it and things like that? But that's where it would be good in a way if on the game you could sort of not necessarily like, okay, let's say for example with the Mitsubishi Evos, I just want to check, your tuning is not allowed, so you can't do your gear ratio, suspension, blah blah blah, but can you, with tuning prohibited, still adjust the weight? But then because you've got that balance of performance is actually on, so
can't.
yeah, so in this particular championship, unfortunately, it wouldn't work. The only way it would work would be if either balance of performance wasn't on, or perhaps tuning was allowed. But yeah,
it'd have to be a championship where it was not balance of performance. It was, this is the power to, and this is the weight, and then the championship leader has to carry a heavier weight.
yeah.
Doing it and showing proof of drivers doing it is difficult. I think it would be easier if we just went back to qualifying and say whoever's leading the championship has to start from the back. Everyone else free to qualify wherever they want. Championship leader starts from the back.
Now you see, Demon R has told me that he wouldn't have a problem with being made to start at the back if it was him. Other people might not like it, but I mean, it depends on what people are racing for. I mean, what I will say is, I mean, obviously me and James have been doing the commentary for you guys for a fair few races now, and the quality of driving has improved across the board. There are still incidents, and there are still some drivers that may need a bit of a word in their ear, or a radar that beeps. But overall, the quality of driving has improved. And I mean, if you've got a group of guys that are honest, or like for example, if you said to Demon R, right, okay, Demon R, you need to have a weight ballast, but we're going to trust you to put it on. Now that would be an absolutely fantastic situation to be able to be in with all of your drivers, where you'd be able to say to someone, right, okay, sure, you won the last race, you need to carry the race winner's ballast, but we're going to trust you to do it. It'd be a very grey area, but that, like I say, it all depends on the group of guys that you've got. I mean, one thing I mean, obviously, since the end of the race, we haven't talked much about the race, but we'll get onto that in a second. But it's just having the opportunity of having you guys here, I thought I might as well probe you a little bit. So if any of the drivers do have any ideas of what they may want to have a look at regarding championships or cars or anything like that, what should they do?
I'll put up on the screen SRI's phone number, and you can message him day and night. No, the best thing to do is to send a message to the Front Row Racing. No, Dynamic GT League.
Bloody hell, I'll beat that out.
Yeah, beat that out.
Oh, what the hell, come on.
Yeah.
What I can say, the last Stewart report was in 12th of May. So that's been quite a while since incidents.
Yeah.
Reported incidents. Doesn't mean that there's no incidents happen, but so that has been pretty good. I think the stewards were thinking they were getting a P45.
I mean, they're getting paid for doing nothing.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it is good that there haven't been reports, but at the same time, I mean, sometimes drivers perhaps would rather have a chat with someone rather than sort of try and get people penalties and stuff like that. So yeah, but if the drivers have got ideas, I think they should definitely message you guys through the Dynamic GT League page. But also, I know
what page, Steve?
Sorry, what?
What page?
Dynamic GT League.
Yeah, that's
sure?
the one.
Yeah.
And I know, because I've been there with you, there's been, I mean, one of the benefits of having the tuning prohibited is that when you go and do some practice and for your races, you'll do some practice, but then you might go, right, okay, let's change things up, let's go and drive some of the other cars. And I know on occasion you've gone, right, so and so pick a car that you want to try, and let's see what it's like. And it's definitely good for drivers in that situation to put ideas forward for cars that either they've not driven and they want to try, or cars that they've tried that they really like, and then it helps you guys have more of an idea of potential car classes or specific cars for future championships.
Exactly that. And it's useful that when we are on for practice that we get quite a few people driving a potential car for championship, because something we have found is some cars can be very good to drive on the track when you're on the track on your own, but then when you're in a battle side by side contact, some cars react differently to others.
Yeah, definitely. Something I was going to mention as well, I mean, obviously the more cars on track as well, it would appear may have a difference in, like, if people haven't got a very good connection. I don't know if it is a factor or not, but it is always a good idea to try and have as many people in the lobby as possible, regardless of which cars you're driving, so stuff like that can be looked at. Because we had Con Reese today, who started in second place, and for everybody else on the circuit, he didn't move at the start, but from the looks of it, for him, he was already down by turn 1. So yeah, connection unfortunately for Con Reese wasn't great for him, which did have a bit of an effect on a few of the drivers, but he was disconnected fairly quickly in the race, so it is a DNF for him, and a potential issue that I believe he is aware of.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether he was actually sat there on his system driving around thinking everyone else had disconnected, thinking, I'm winning.
He may have done. Okay, the race then, guys. What did you think of that? Anyone that stood out for you?
Well, Mandalorian was nowhere in the first 10 minutes, yet he was second at the end of the race. It just goes to show that if you don't have the best of starts in this league, you've still got a chance of getting yourself up on the podium. Same with Steve F1. We saw him have a bit of contact with somebody and around he went, and it looked, to be fair, that his race was over and done with and he wouldn't be anywhere near the podium. But he was fourth in the end, so a good recovery drive.
Yeah, it was a great drive, and I think that's the one that stands out for me as well. Even I can't remember where Bunzel finished, but
he finished 11th.
I don't know. It did look like he was having a good race as well. Everybody looked as if they were having a good race.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, from what I saw on screen, I can't say about anything I didn't see on screen. I mean, one of the things I like about that track is that even drivers like Demon R, Steve F1, SGP, Mandalorian, SR, Dave the Harp, on a track like that, if you're seeing them make errors, then, like getting sideways on curbs, and if you're seeing them make errors, then you know it's a tricky little track.
I like how you kind of paused on SR.
But I mean, I suppose what I'm trying to say is that when we were seeing the pack, one of the difficulties with the pack is that you are surrounded. So for majority of that race, for guys to be able to keep it fairly clean is a testament to how much they've been working on the driving. That's not to say that there weren't incidents, and some things obviously may have needed looking at and stuff like that, but I think that's where I guess in general the overall has improved a little bit. So it is good to see, and you got the likes of Silver Shadow in battles all the way through the race, and Fluffy Planet fighting hard but fighting fair, Jason involved in quite a lot of action in that race, Mandalorian fighting his way through the pack, SGP being methodical and trying to avoid the pack, and was it Formula Gary, brilliant speed early on, but unfortunately a couple of spins at the slow downhill chicane I think caused him quite a few problems, but with a bad back, I'm not surprised he wasn't perhaps able to finish the race, because it would be difficult. But what I've seen him doing in practice has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, he's one that's impressed me the most over the course of this season so far.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with you on that one. And Rich Blues, he is getting in on the action now as well, which is brilliant considering that he's not had a lot of time to practice, similar with Groover, due to work. Not had a lot of time to practice at all, so he's definitely in there in the fight, and no doubt there's someone I'm missing. Dave the Harp, I think unfortunately for Dave the Harp, a track like that one that's a little bit of a tyre killer, unfortunately Dave the Harp is probably the one that will suffer the most. So
well, you say that, but got some information on Dave the Harp. He used a different camera angle. He had been using more of the third person behind the car follow cam, and he's gone to using on the front bumper with the mirror on the screen, so you just basically got dials in the mirror, and he's noticed that he's able to get his tyres to last nearly the same as everyone else now.
Interesting.
So he's able to, well, normally he can't get super soft tyres to do 10 minutes anywhere. He was able to get super soft to do 10 minutes today.
Well, there you go. I mean, some people may think, well, that's a bit weird changing camera view, but it could be, at the end of the day, you're going off a visual, so maybe there were automatic reactions from the visuals that added to the wear, and those you don't get those visuals on the other camera, or I don't know.
I mean, the one thing I would probably look at it and say what it might be is it's the seat of the pants feeling that you normally get when your camera is within the car. And normally you get the visual where the road and the screen in front of you, the angle starts to change, but your car's rigid. The car's rigid, but the road in front of you is changing angle as you're steering and driving, and you can normally tell that when you turn too much but the screen in front of you stays straight, you know you've got understeer. You've steered, but anyway, when you're on the third person view and you're driving round, it's like the screen stays straight, but the rear of the car wiggles around. So it's difficult to judge exactly what the wheels are doing on the third person view.
It would be interesting to see how he gets on for the remainder of the championship then, because he's a more than capable driver. SRI had an interesting race, definitely right in the middle of the action, even if he doesn't know what happened.
I know what happened. That's how it worked.
I mean, for Tyler, I think he got disconnected as well, which is unfortunate for Tyler. So a difficult one for him, and perhaps, well, I don't know. Starting on pole because he'd got the least amount of points in the championship. If he'd not practiced that track much, I could imagine it'd be a little bit tricky. But I suppose another way to look at it is, well, if someone's going to have a crash on the first lap, if they do it in front of everybody, they're not wiping anyone out.
Yeah, exactly.
Who else? Silver Shadow. Very good race. I think I've just about covered everyone there, and if I haven't, if I forgot someone, I do apologise.
I can't think of anyone else.
Okay. Right, in that case then, in a few moments we'll get on to confirmation of the race result and the championship standings, but before we do disappear, I just want to mention obviously that unfortunately James wasn't able to join us on the commentary today. He may be unavailable for a few weeks. Hopefully we will be able to get him back onto the commentary, because he's a lot easier to understand than these two, even if he does talk gibberish.
Alright, that's alright, that's fine.
No, I don't mean that. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me on the commentary.
Thank you for your time, and thank you to the drivers for the great racing produced.
Without them, we'd have no league.
Exactly. Okay, so...
And without you, we would have no videos.
True. Yeah.
Without him, we'd have different champions, eh?
True.
Right.
There is a downside to me. Okay, so anyway, I think it's time to look at confirmation of the race result and the championship standings. The confirmed race result then for round 4 at Kyoto Park Yamagiwa 2 has Demon R on the top step, Mandalorian in second place, SGP in third, Steve F1 fourth, Jason 5th, Dave the Harp 6th, Silver Shadow 7th, Groover 8th, Fluffy Planet 9th, SRI in 10th, Bunsel in 11th, Rich Blues 12th. Unfortunately, Formula Gary, Tyler and Con Reese did not get to the end of the race. A bit of a stewards report, a few incidents placed. Unfortunately, Jason has a -6 point penalty for 2 separate incidents. Let's see. Jason rear ends SRI into the braking zone that puts SRI offline and needs to brake heavily to avoid going off track. Being a lot slower throughout the corner, Jason then overtakes. So deemed to be an unfair overtake and a -3 point penalty for that one. And the next one that Jason got a penalty for was Jason rear ends SRI mid corner that puts SRI into a slide with secondary contact, causing him to spin. Also deemed to be an unfair overtake. So -6 points for Jason. Okay, let's take a look at the current championship standings then. Still leading the way and opening up the gap at the top is Demon R on 75 points. Mandalorian still in second place on 69 points, with SGP in third on 64. We then have a bit of a gap down to Steve F1 in fourth place, and then it is ever so tight. Fluffy Planet in fifth on 39, Dave the Harp in sixth on 36. So then we have Formula Gary on 29 points, and only 1 point behind him is Groover. Bunsel has 25 points and he's in 9th place, while Twilight is only 1 point and 1 place behind him. Jason, with his penalties, is now on 22 points. Rich Blues is in 12th on 19 points. SRI is on 16 points and Con Reese is still on 7. Tyler has 0 points with his DNF today, and we also do have 1 seat available in the championship. So if you want to get involved in a racing league on GT Sport, check out the Dynamic GT League Facebook page, drop them a message letting them know that you'd like to get involved. Anyway, I've been Dave from I'll Tell You What TV, and we'll see you all again soon for round 5 of the DGT League GR3EVO Cup.